Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock from this sunny Amsterdam again, live from the Novo Hotel. I'm standing here next to Sarah Wilson. Good to have you all aboard this morning. Kindly ask you guys to turn off your camera and turn off your mic as well. And if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. We did receive some questions already, but if you have any other additional questions during the chat with Sarah, just put them in the chat. And yeah, guys, you see we're standing rather close to each other, but we're tested every day at 7:30. So I tested negative. Negative as well. So we're good to go today, and that's why we're standing so close to each other. So yeah,
We're safe.
we're safe. Sarah, good to have you here this morning. Can you introduce yourself to the viewers back home?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Wilson, and I am from Scotland.
And anything on the umpiring? What's your experience so far? Where to start?
So this is my first Europeans. Certainly one of my favourite tournaments. It's such a great experience. It's always good fun. Hockey is amazing, so always really enjoy this tournament. Went to the Olympics in Rio, and then obviously we're going to Tokyo. EHLs, EHCC, CCCCs, and obviously experiencing the Pro League stuff as well. So I've got a real good mix. It's all been different, but equally enjoyable.
Excellent. Well, again, good to have you here. This morning we're going to talk about the value of communication between us as umpires and the teams. I think during this tournament there were a lot of examples already where the communication needed to be spot on between us and the teams. And just to start off straight with some questions which popped in via the email. The first question, Sarah, and guys, if we're gonna we do have a little giveaway for the best, interesting, or the nicest question for Sarah. So don't be shy. Just pop them in the chat, and we will make sure that the winner will get the giveaway sent by mail or maybe personal delivery even. So who knows? So the first question, Sarah, do you have any tips or tricks on how to pay attention to the bench without missing anything on the pitch?
Well, I mean, I wear my earpiece in my left ear anyway, so that is quite a good way of just blocking out a lot of what I'm hearing. But I think it's really important to find a strategy or a technique that works for you, to just block out what is happening on the bench. Don't focus on what they're saying. You know, you have to be totally committed and focused to what's happening on the pitch. So any comments you hear, you need to just discard them immediately, and not listen to them. They don't always know what they're talking about. They are trying to influence you. So go with your decision, go with your gut, and you really just need to put them out of the way and really just focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah. So so the advice for the umpires who are just starting their career as umpire, of course, on club level or lower level, you say just focus on the pitch. But sometimes we all know the parents or the coach who are just a little bit too ambitious, maybe.
Yeah.
What kind of tips do you have for those people, for those umpires?
Yeah, so I mean, fortunately, at tournaments like this, we have a TO who will or should hopefully take care of the coaches for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen, and sometimes they need reminded. If you've got a good relationship with a coach, for example, in my game yesterday, who was having a good old shout at me, I just said, look, please don't shout at me like that. Okay, you know, we can talk, but don't shout at me like that. And immediately he said, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. For younger umpires coming through, we have parents shouting and things like that. Don't be afraid to stop time. Stop time, because you need to be focused on the game. Stop time, go over and say, look, please don't speak to me like that. I'm trying to do my best for the game. And then it tends to be they're almost a little bit embarrassed about their behaviour. But don't be afraid to point that out.
But always in a respectful manner.
In a respectful manner. Don't go aggressive and go shouting and this and that. Okay, please don't shout at me like that. trying to do the best for the game, don't appreciate that behaviour.
Yeah, so treat the players or the teams how you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Because if we start shouting to the teams, well, don't expect they're going to be nice to us. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you. Next question: do you have any tips on managing frustrated players?
Oh, we have a lot of them. Normally, I kind of almost empathise or sympathise with them. So if a player's, I say, look, I know you're frustrated. Okay, I know you're frustrated, but, and then it tends to bring them from here to here. I know you're angry, I know you're frustrated, but don't do that. And then they go, yeah, rather than exactly. Then they come up to you. So it's like, look, I agree, I know, but we can't have this behaviour.
No, totally agree.
Like that. But don't let it go on. If you notice that someone has this explosion, or you need to deal with it, because if you don't take that opportunity to do something about it, then it's only going to escalate and to get worse and worse, and then that could really lead to something potentially dangerous, which we just don't want. So take the opportunity to manage that player for the benefit of the game. Yeah.
True. So emphasize and say understand, but set your boundaries straight away from don't do this.
Yeah.
All right. There's a question, Sarah. What was your hardest decision you have to make during an umpire match ever, or just the one that you pops in?
Wow. Okay, so just one that's just comes straight into my head. There's been many, I can tell you. There's been a lot of difficult decisions both on the pitch and also decisions in the video box. One decision for me that was a difficult one was the quarter-final of the World Cup. Argentina were playing Australia. It went to a penalty shootout. And Jody Kenny runs into the circle, and Belensucci, the goalkeeper, takes out the player. So I gave the penalty stroke. It could also have been, or probably should also have been, a yellow card for the goalkeeper. However, the rule is that the goalkeeper would have to take her kit off, and one of the 5 penalty takers would have to put the kit on. And so in that moment, with the pressure and the score, that would have been such a huge decision to say, okay, Granato or Marino or Carla Rebecca, you're going to put the goalkeeping kit on and go and save. And I decided not to go down that road and just give the penalty stroke. And that was a difficult decision and a hard decision, but that was one that I wouldn't want to have to make again, for sure.
All right. And so on communication with the players and the teams, what's the best thing about it? What is your style on when you're talking with players or coaches in general? Are you so what kind of style do you on this?
Yeah, I'd like to think that I'm just quite open and honest, and if I make a mistake, I'm happy to say, sorry guys, yep, okay, I got that wrong. And I think players really appreciate that. You're there and you make mistakes and just own it. I try and talk with the players to make them know what's going on, if it's a hand or if it's a high ball, because they're looking down, they're not always, looking at you. So I think I like to just talk to the players to help them and to be preventative, but not to sort of coach them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, I just think just being open.
But you only talk when the ball is there, also off the ball?
Off the ball as well, We want to try and avoid situations. So if you're seeing something that's happening off the ball in the circle, sticks, molding, you have to communicate with them about that, because otherwise we could end up with situations in the circle that go to video. So just get in there first, manage it, deal with it, talk to them. Hey guys, we're seeing what you're doing. Don't do it. We know you're tight marking, but this is too much, or however you decide to communicate. But it's important that we let them know that we're seeing it.
And also we also understand, of course, when there's a high pressure situation like a penalty corner, then we understand that the emotion might get a bit bigger, or when there's a goal scored which they maybe not agree, or they have a bit of a doubt. So when those situations occur, what do you do? Do you go proactive to the players and speak to them and say to them what you saw and why you're taking that decision, or you just wait till they come to you?
Yes. After every goal, I tend to just wait a second anyway, just to make sure there's nothing that happens afterwards, or there's no players coming together. But if there's something not right, you can normally feel it, and the player reaction normally gives you an idea that something's happened. So normally I'll just wait. And if the players say to me, you know, oh, it was a high ball, I'll say, I don't think it was dangerous.
Exactly.
And then it gives them the option to say, well, we want to refer it. And at that moment, it's really important that we don't have 3, 4 players running over in your face, you know, just, whoa, go away, one person, come over, and then let's do this in a calm way, rather than having players crowding and shouting. And it's not a good advert for our sport. So keep them away, one person, over you come. What's your question?
And then the question from Christian, and he's asking, when or how do you set your boundary when players are talking, or and the discussions are going on for too long? What do you do to say, okay, guys, this is it? So what do you do?
Well,
any advice or tips on this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between a conversation about something that is legitimate. So like, you know, a ball's hit someone maybe around the knee and they say it's high, and you can maybe understand that and say, okay, yeah, but for me, you were low or whatever. But when they start to question everything, I mean, really simple things like a clear foot, a tackle, guys, please stop questioning every decision.
Exactly.
Okay, that's enough. Just stop questioning every decision. There are some things that I think the player has every right to ask you about, and we have a responsibility to give them, you know, an answer on some things. But there has to be a line. We can't have this appealing for every single decision. So we also have to communicate that to them. Guys, no, come on, stop appealing for everything. It's too much now.
Yeah. Really, that's it. So set your boundary. That's you know, set your standards early. Let them know what you accept with talking or discussions on the pitch. And yeah, exactly as you say, you know, and there are, I think, a lot of examples of it when we as umpires don't set the boundaries. Boom.
Yeah.
So we have to say every game again, this is how far the players or the teams can go, and if you go over that boundary, we have to step in.
Yeah.
But first, set your standards, set your boundary first.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And what do you do if your colleague on the other side takes a decision where you think, well, could be the other way around as well, and the players are turning to you, Sarah, why? What do you do? What do you do?
You find another colleague.
Yeah, you find another colleague.
Yeah, okay. So I think it also comes down to before the game, it's really important that you have that chat with your colleague to understand your areas of responsibility. You know, like when this play is coming in here, that's for me to take, and you know, I'll take this area for you. So before the game even starts, really, you need to set those areas of responsibility so you both know and expect where to blow.
Yeah.
And only if you really miss something that is clear, then just take it. You know, I'm not going to worry about that. But if there's something that they blow, what do you mean, like in your sort of your area?
Yeah.
Then it's almost a case of if there's player confusion and there's umpire confusion, the worst thing that you can do is just let play go on.
Exactly.
That honestly, my advice would be just to say, whoa, guys, stop. And check with your colleague what's happened, and then reset. Because even though the players might not agree with it, at least there won't be a disadvantage where a team is not set up because, you know, nobody knows what's happening. So just reset it. You might not be happy about the situation, but let it go. just say, okay, guys, we'll reset. Let them set up, so it's fair.
Yeah. And Jan Jaap is asking a very nice question actually. Do you remember a situation where a player responded such it left you flabbergasted or endless giggling? Like this.
Oh man. Sometimes the players come out with something that is just funny.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because they don't know the rules. And you're like, really? I might have to come back to that because I can't think of a situation where I've been really like laughing so much.
But are there players, and that's what Peter is asking as well. How do you react when players don't understand you because of your Scottish accent?
Oh, come on. I've even tried to slow down in this interview. Yeah, nah.
Just kidding.
I think I have to be very conscious when I'm talking because I know sometimes I'm a little bit quick. But yeah, hopefully they do understand. I think if nothing, my body language will probably tell them exactly what they need to know. But yeah, no, a situation where I've been flabbergasted.
No worries.
I am flabbergasted
right
now.
But and is it something? Is there a difference? Because well, I didn't umpire till last Friday, the first game here in the Euros with no crowds. Does it? So this is the first time with crowd as well. Do you like it? First of all,
yeah, love it.
Back.
Love it. Yeah.
Good to have them back in the stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But does that change your way of communication with the players as well? With maybe the noise and everything.
Yeah. Also, I think that the crowd really helps lift the players, and then it creates this buzz and this excitement and this energy and motivation. So then the players are almost like up here. So in a way, you have to work a little bit harder just to keep it here, you know, because the crowd brings out that excitement and the adrenaline and everything is going crazy. And it's also important that we stay here and also don't go up with the players in the crowd. So yeah, I think you just need to kind of just manage it a bit more because the excitement levels are quite high, especially at the start of the game when they're nervous. But it's so good to have people back in the stadium. It's amazing.
And there's a question here. After club games, umpires usually mingle with the players. How is this during our international tournaments here? Is it also mingling or is it separated?
So in this tournament, it is separated. The players are not staying at our hotel. Sometimes they do stay in the same hotel as us, and you might see them at breakfast or in the elevator or just walking around and stuff. I mean, I don't mind mingling with the players too much because it gives you an opportunity to build relationships with them. Just have a chat with them off the pitch. And, I've known some of these players now for a long time. And so it's like, hi, Sarah, how are you? Yeah, good. And you? And they remember that actually you're a person and you're human and you're not just this robot on the pitch, So I don't mind it too much. And it's nice to build that relationship. Sometimes, if there's been a situation where they've maybe not agreed with something and then you find yourself in a lift with a coach on your own going down, it can be a bit awkward, but being open and having that conversation, if they say to you, look, can I ask you about this? If they do it in a way that is fair and would you mind if I ask you about this? Yeah, no problem. Let's have a look. So can I show you a clip? Yeah, let's have a look at it. And then, okay, I think I got that wrong. And they'll accept it.
Exactly. And that's, I truly believe that that's the beauty of our sport.
Yeah.
That we're always open. It doesn't matter if you're a club umpire or at the Euro Nations or the Olympics or anywhere else. There's always room for a little bit of discussion and to learn from each other's views.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty. Well, I think this is the first time actually that I'm in a tournament where there are no teams in our hotel.
Yeah.
So that was a bit strange and odd. So only watching all the officials walking around and no teams. And and it is this the beauty of our sport that when in normal times or when the teams are in the same hotel, you might have breakfast right in between the two teams that you're umpiring later on that day. So yes, and I think we should be do that all the times, even at club level, mingle with the teams, but and also asking their view. So how did I do? How can I improve my my umpiring? Are there any situations you want to talk about? So I can share my view on the situation, and that will build a relationship for future appointments, I think, and that will help us build the game on the pitch, but also off the pitch. And yeah, that's the connection that we need to have, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Question from Ragula, from
Okay.
all the way from India. Our Raghu.
Our Raghu.
Our Raghu. Good to have,
Okay.
good to have you.
Oh,
He's a viewer of all the sessions so far. So Raghu, good to have you here. The question was, what do you do when there's a colleague who maybe is doing his first big game?
Yeah.
How do you talk to him, and what is your role on the pitch when doing that and managing the players?
Yeah. So good question, Raghu.
as always.
I wouldn't have expected anything less. Yeah, listen, especially when you're the more experienced umpire, we've all been there. We've all had to be the young person, the inexperienced person coming in, and I'll never forget how that feels. And your nerves, and am I good enough? Can I manage this? Will I be okay? Am I going to make mistakes? So it's important for me to make them feel comfortable, but also build them up, make them feel confident, and absolutely be there for them throughout the game, So just little things like if they make a really good decision, yep, good, well done, excellent. Just little things that can help them build confidence and feel good within themselves, and help them out. Also, just little things like, coming a little bit higher up the pitch, make sure that you're just supporting them a little bit more in their area. Yeah. And just, you might need to step in on a couple of occasions just to deal with any management situations. But for me, the big things are making them feel comfortable and confident, and encouraging them, and just sort of being really positive with your communication through,
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And what do you do when the communication remains a little bit troubled? So your message is not getting across to the players. Would you talk to the captain maybe in open play, or at the end of the quarter and just say, "Captain, come on"?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the situation. It's also how you get your message across. And I think all too often we give a message, but we don't really give a message. So what I mean by that is, something happens, a tackle goes in and we go, toot, number 18, be careful, and they're running away. They don't know. Your message has not had an impact. 18, she's running. 18, she's still running. Number 18, and then she's looking at you.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and then everyone's listening, everyone knows, listen, be careful with that stick tackle. We don't want to see that. And then it's hand, okay, now she's got the message. So then it becomes clearer, So make sure you get your message across. If you feel it's still not really working, quarter time, running over, listen, that's twice now. You need to speak to your players.
Exactly, yeah.
There's not going to be another warning.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, there's not. So just go and speak to them.
Yeah. And how do you use your body language to bring your message across with the verbal things?
Again, it depends on the situation. If it's a soft foul or a bit.
And sometimes you have to make yourself even bigger.
I tend to walk towards a little bit, a couple of steps and walk towards it. Okay. My face tends to be a little bit more, eyebrows, my head, the head goes. So it's just softer, stronger body language, and and eye contact is very important.
And it is a difference between when you're umpiring men or women games?
Not really. I think it's the same. I would manage it the same, even though it is umpired slightly differently, and there are differences for sure. But I would still manage the men the same as the women, even though I'd be managing it like this, rather than like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's honest. That's honest. Because for me it's easier. You know, I'm a taller guy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But still, you know, sometimes, and it doesn't matter how tall or how small or how experienced you are. Sometimes you just need to say till here, and otherwise you're gonna be even guarded or something else. So you have to set your boundaries well and your standards straight away. You know, that's the most important thing. So setting your standards early, avoid giving the cards later on.
100%.
How do you deal with players that remain upset because of a decision by you or your colleague? Is it just ignoring? So if they keep on going, just ignore them, or well, what we just said actually, step in and say, hey.
So if in the moment, you know, they're still going, if there's an opportunity, like the ball goes out off the pitch, or if it's really constant, you can stop time and say, look.
Without giving any cards, that's possible, huh? It is.
It is possible, depending on how they're talking with you. And, and has this happened before? Have you already tried to manage it? But for me, if it's constant, then I just stop time and say, look, it's done, right? This is the decision we gave. You might not agree with it, but we're moving on now.
Yeah.
And then if we play on and they go, see ya.
Exactly.
Off you go.
Exactly.
But try and manage it first. Don't go straight to a card unless it's really bad.
Exactly.
But let's try and say, guys, it's done. This is how we've seen it. You might not agree with it, but the game is moving on. So come on, let's get on with it.
And do you make it rather big, or do you keep it small, like one-on-one, or make it big so everybody sees it? And
well, again, I know I'm giving a 50-50. It depends on how big it is and when it's happening. If they keep going, I say, look, it's done, move on. And if they keep going and I have an opportunity, I might stop, say, look, it's done, let's move on. So I think for that, everybody's really, really clear that, okay, we're going to leave this now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and also admitting, you know, and also, and that's one of the questions also, admitting that maybe your decision was not correct.
Yeah.
What's the value of that? Instead of no, I'm right.
Well, because if you really want to get respect from the players and you want the players to respect you, you need to have honesty and humility. You know, because that's how they're going to work with you. And if you make a mistake, you make a mistake, and that's okay. The players make mistakes, the coaches make mistakes, but it's just about saying, yeah, okay, fair, I got that wrong, sorry guys. And immediately they'll go from here to here.
Exactly.
Because what can they say?
Exactly. And
you know?
and your way of communication, is it based on positive things, or always say no, I'm right? Or because that's something that I find, if we close the door with no, I'm right, yeah, but it was not food, but it was food. If you say I thought there was a foot, or exactly. I saw there was, guys, for me, it's hit a foot. Exactly. Yeah. And then they'll say, watch the video later, and I go, we will. I will, and I'll watch the video later, and it's hit a foot, and I'll go, okay. But yeah, listen. It comes back to being open and being honest. And if you've seen something in a way, guys, for me, that was high, it was dangerous. And then they might not agree with it, but you've given your reason. Exactly. And if they want to refer it, they can refer it. No problem. It's their referral to use. Fine. Good. Yeah. Hey, and Britt has a good question. Is there a difference between players reacting there as a video umpire or not? Or when they disagree with the decision? And also, and I want to add, if they are not agreeing on the video umpire call, because everybody's watching the screen and say, how is it possible? So what do you do there? Yeah, well, you know, I'll start off by saying that being a video umpire is a really difficult job.
and everyone thinks, oh, it's fine, you know, you can see it because you're sitting at home, you're relaxed, you've got no pressure, no stress, you're watching something, it's easy, it's this. When you're in the box, it's not as easy as that. And actually, sometimes the angles that we see in the video box are not the same angles that are being shown on the big screen or on TV. And so when you look at something from one angle, you think, easy foot. And you look at it from another angle and it's gone straight through their legs. And you think, how is that possible? But it is. So if the players are not happy with what the video umpire comes down with, it's a case of managing that. Guys, look, they've looked at everything, they've looked at all their angles, that's it. And again, what more can you say?
Yeah, and you know, and hockey is just one of the sports, I think, where what we say is broadcasted as well.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's a big plus, so everybody understands what we're doing on the pitch. Mm-hmm. There are also other sports, and that's a good question from Christian. Are there any sports where you take example of how to communicate with the players and the teams? Like, you know, it is your question. So, but are there any sports which helped you in your development on communication with the players?
Yeah, rugby.